Hey guys, Gene here, G Squared Tactical. Today we have the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 chambered in 10mm. I've heard folks say that it was long anticipated. I personally was not anticipating it. But again, I'm not a huge fan of M&Ps and shields. And if you guys watch the channel, you know that already. And so typically I don't even stop at the M&P and the shield Smith & Wesson counter to even look at the guns, because I've just, for various different reasons throughout the years, every one I've ever bought, when they used to do those rebates, I bought a lot of those things, probably had 8 or 10 of them, and sold every one of them. I'm just not a fan. I didn't like that broken trigger, the middle break trigger, whatever they called that thing. I hated it, and I'm not a trigger snob, so that really says something. And so I just walked by the counter. I was looking for something chambered in 10mm, as I was looking to find something to replace my 1911 that was chambered in 10mm with a little bit more capacity. So, and again, I wasn't even looking. I didn't even think Smith was an option, or that M&P was an option shield, or anything else. But this did come with two 15-round magazines, talking about capacity. So you have 15 plus 1, whereas in the 1911 I had 7 plus 1, maybe, something like that. So this just caught my eye, and I was like, does that say 10mm? And more than that, have they changed the trigger? At first, I thought maybe it was a used gun and someone has put a aftermarket trigger in it and brought it back, traded it in or something. But that's not the case. Yes, it is an M&P chambered in 10mm. And yes, they did change the trigger to a more center safety Glock style trigger. We'll get to the trigger here in a minute. So I'm like, okay. Well, one of the few things that I hated about the M&P and the shield was the trigger. And again, I'm not a trigger snob, and I didn't like the grip, the sandpaper type grip. Every one that I had that I actually kept, like the 45 and ACP and the shield, I ended up putting a over grip, a rubber Hogue over grip on it, because it doesn't matter what kind of clothes you're wearing, t-shirt, polo, sweatshirt, whatever, this stick, every time you bend over, every time you turn, scratch your back, scratch your butt, whatever you do, you could feel it just catching your clothes, and that's not cool. So I'm not a fan of the sandpaper grip. Now, with that being said, this being a 10mm, it allows you to get a nasty good grip on the gun, which of course you do want that with a snappy caliber like a 10mm. So if you're not deep concealing this gun or carrying it under your clothes or something, maybe you're open carrying, okay, that probably the clothes snagging thing wouldn't be an issue in that case. Or if you're throwing it in the dash of the truck, console, whatever, nightstand, great, wonderful grip, feels awesome. I mean, you feel like you got a death grip on it, and that's a good thing. So I'm not bashing the grip. It did come with several panels. I think a small, medium, large. Pull this out here, pull the panel off. Probably one of the easiest panels that there are out there to replace. So kudos for that. And that also serves as a tool. Again, I'm not going to get much into the aesthetics and things. This is the 4.25 inch version. I think they make a 4.6, which is a little bit longer. And those are the two they have chambered in 10mm. I decided to get the more compact one. Things that I liked about it, which are a lot of things, right? I liked how, like I said, how easy it was to change the grip panels. The fact that the grip panels came with it. You didn't have to purchase it, extra or anything like that. I like the fact that you don't lose your rear sight when you remove the optic, but above that, they put raised 3-dot steel sights on here to co-witness through most, I say most, reflexes. Now, I did buy a Leopold initially to put on here, a Leopold Pro, and those things are super high in the back, and it would not see through it with this, or co-witness through the reflex. Now, with the Trigicon RMR, you get a little bit better than 1/3 the lower 1/3, you almost can see a whole sight picture. So it co-witnesses really well through the Trijicon, the RMR. I'm not sure about the Holosun or anything. I just tried the Leopold Pro and then the Trijicon. It would not even come close. Like the back of the Leopold was dead even with the top of the sight. But they do provide plates, and it does come standard with the raised suppressor height. Well, they call suppressor height sights. This obviously doesn't have a threaded barrel, but you can co-witness, which is awesome. I hate buying guns that have a cut for an optic, but you have to buy aftermarket sights to put on there, and God forbid you have to take it to a gunsmith to put them on there for you, because now you're spending more money. You bought sights, you paid for a gunsmith to put them on. It's crazy. This did come with 6 or 7 plates. I can't remember the exact number. Again, all that information is on Smith's website, but I promise you it came with so many plates. If there's an optic that you got that it don't have a plate for, then you probably should get another optic, because it came with plenty of plates. No worries with that. Raised 3-dot sights, as I mentioned. I think 3 grip panels, small, medium, large. The mag release, it did come with 2 mags, 15 rounds, as I mentioned already. I do not have to change. I would not necessarily call this an extended mag release. It does look a little bit, it does seem to protrude a little bit more than most in the past, but I do not have to change my grip at all, and I have short, fat sausage fingers, as I've told you guys many times before, and so if I can get it down without changing my grip, then anyone can. So it is not ambi, and I'm not sure, I don't think you can switch it around. Maybe you can. Just looking at it here, I'd say, yeah, you might be able to. You might want to look into that. But for me, I'm a righty. I don't care anything about none of that. And I do not have to change my grip to drop the magazine. And the slide lock, it is ambi, as is the safety, the thumb safety here. There is a model that does not have the thumb safety, like on most other M&Ps and Shields. The slide lock is kind of flush here at the frame and works its way out towards the slide as it goes up towards the slide. So it sticks out a pretty good bit. I thought that was really going to be a problem at the range, as when other guns in the past I've had that way, I would accidentally lock the slide back. So, but that did not happen. So that's good, because again, I don't have to adjust my grip to send the slide home. So, and like I said, it is ambi, so that would be good for Trey as well, the old lefty. So that's nice. I like that. I like the way it takes down. They really frown on that on YouTube, so I'm not going to do it. But lock the slide back, push the little lever down here like you always have on the rest of them. Put the slide back on, slide it back, lock it, push the lever back up, and that's done. Probably one of the easiest pistols, any that are like that, to take down. So that's good. I really like that. It has these fish scale type serrations on the front, very usable. I mean, you can actually feel it. You can really get a good grip on it. I've noticed this trend where people are putting these cute little cuts and stuff, and they're really not usable. They're kind of in the fold, as the slide kind of folds up to the top, and you can't really get a good grip on them. That's not the case here. Just like with all the other M&P and Shields, nice, good front slide serrations and rear to match. Like I said, I did mention that it has the ambi thumb safety here. So let's get to shooting it. Yes, we did get to shoot it. No, we did not get to go outside. We were in the range where they really kind of frown on filming, but we were able to get a little bit of film with my wife shooting the gun, to kind of get a lady's perspective with the 10mm round, the recoil and stuff, and we'll put that up and allow you to see that. Also, I have a little film of me shooting the gun as well. But I will say this, I left the range ready to come home and just straight up bash this gun. I have never in my life, if I have, I can't recall to memory, have I ever had a gun with a trigger as gritty as this trigger was. Now, granted, I did not clean it, and so you can leave comments in the hate mail if that's what you want to do, but it would seem that more people care about you having not cleaned it. Did you take out of the box, right out of the box, and go shoot it? How did it do? More people care about that than they seem to care about, well, you should clean them when you get them out, which, yeah, you probably should, but I didn't. And so I took it to the range, unclean, and my wife, she is not, like, she likes to shoot and she is a great shot, and a lot of guns she outshoots me. And, you know, I'll put a video up with you know, one of the other CZ videos that we do to kind of make all of us blush. She shoots really well. She's not intelligent enough about guns to know anything about a trigger. She just makes adjustments to the trigger, which is usually what I recommend. She turns around while she's shooting this gun and she says, "Is there something in this trigger?" And I thought, okay, well, if she says something about it, then there must be something to it. Now, it really made me mad. And during the range time, like, again, I was telling you before, it doesn't have a deep undercut here, like so on maybe a 1911 or the Glocks with those extended beaver tails that come way out here that allows you to really choke up on the gun. Well, that's not the case here. It's a little thick through here, right? And so, and I don't necessarily grip super, super high anyway. I do like to get a good grip, you know, get really up into the web of the hand, but I'm not one of these, you know, they constantly get slide burn kind of people, you know. But so I'm holding the gun, and every time it recoils, I'm popping the safety up every single time. Like, it is super easy to manipulate the safety up. And it being ambi, which of course I wasn't hitting it with my you know, trigger finger, it was hitting it with my thumb here every time it recoiled. So my thumb was riding underneath the safety here, and when it would recoil, about every other round, I would accidentally knock the safety up. Now, I know, go ahead, leave your comments. You're supposed to use that as a ledge to shoot from, and that is ultimately what I did, but I'm not comfortable shooting that way. I shoot a lot of guns that have ambi safeties, tactical type safeties. Maybe they ride a little bit lower on the frame, I'm not sure, but I don't have that problem. And even whether I ride my thumb on top of it or not, I don't have that problem. I don't know if it's just because it's so easy, I'm not sure. But, you know, that happened a lot while I was at the range. But again, it was something I made an adjustment to, and that I know most people would stick their thumb over it and kind of use it as a thumb rest and a little bit better grip. And I could see that, okay? I could see that. I wouldn't let that sway me away from carrying or having fun or shooting the gun. Now, but I was so pissed off about the trigger, because the trigger, I more so bought it for the trigger than I did it being a 10 millimeter, because again, they've always had those center break triggers that I just absolutely hated. And so when I came home, I was so aggravated. Like, I'm gonna talk smack about this trigger. I'm gonna pee everybody off. They're gonna leave me hate mail. But when I took the gun down, again, having not cleaned it from the factory, I noticed this red. Now, I don't know what it was. I got it cleaned up pretty good, but it was like the devil to get off. And I just assumed, I did see it before we went to the range, but I just assumed it was like, you know, Glock, they'll put that pinkish colored like grease or something on the inside of their slide and stuff, and it'll hang around in there for a couple thousand rounds sometimes. And I just thought that's what it was. And maybe it was, I don't know. But whatever it was, turned into almost like a gritty dust or sand or what have you. And I can only assume that that's what was in my trigger, and that's what was making that feel like sandpaper. It was so bad, I literally took the lower of this gun and washed it out with water and Dawn dish detergent. That's how bad the stuff. So, okay, I'll let go of the grit thing. It still has a little bit of grit, but I'll leave that alone. Now, the separation between the bottom of the trigger guard and the trigger itself, even all the way back to the break, where you hit the wall there and then it breaks, and in the rear here it has an over travel little protrusion there, and it is a more flat face trigger once you pull the safety in, but it's still a pretty nice separation there from the bottom of the trigger guard and the bottom of the trigger, or yeah, I guess the top. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. And my finger was getting pinched in it almost every other round. When it came back and when it came back forward, my finger was getting pinched in it, and the trigger wasn't wanting to come back. Come on. I'm sitting here looking at other guns like $250 Tauruses and of course Canics and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, you can barely see underneath the trigger and the trigger guard. Like, it makes you think, like, do they go out and shoot these guns before they mass produce them and put them out to the public? Now maybe you don't have that problem. I've watched a few other videos and I ain't heard nobody say nothing about it. But, if you're going to change a trigger that you've had on your gun that long, looks to me like you would put a little bit more thought into it, because my finger definitely was catching underneath this trigger every single time it came back forward. Maybe that's just me. Fine. Again, leave message in the hate mail. But the reset, it's there. It's decently short. It's not tactile. Definitely not as audible as you would like it to be. You definitely don't feel it in your finger the way you would on, say, a Glock or maybe a 1911 or something. You would hope that it would be a little more tactile, but it ain't. So, and the trigger pull is about 5 pounds, 5.5, just like most triggers, and the Glock trigger and so forth. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about weights and things like that and bore you with all those details. You can find all that out on Smith's website. Just kind of wanted to tell you a little bit about, and again, if you're a fan of M&P, if you're a fan of the Shield, then you're going to be a fan of this. Yes, it's a 10 millimeter, it's snappy, but it's what you would expect from a 10 millimeter. You really, really have to grip it and really get a death grip on that thing and be conscious of that the whole entire time you're shooting it, because it is a snappy round. So I'm going to give it another chance. But sadly, I'm probably going to end up replacing this trigger, because as with their former triggers, I just don't like them. And I'm not a trigger snob. I tell people, just get used to the trigger. Just get used to it. And so what I'm going to have to do is just, either adjust to this one where I just barely stick my finger on the trigger, which I know a lot of people say you should probably shoot it that way anyway. But I bring my finger in a little bit more into the trigger guard a little more than maybe some people do. But even that's not a lot. It's not sticking out the other side. But when I brought my finger back forward, every single time my finger was getting caught under the trigger and the trigger guard. Every single time. My wife said the same exact thing. Why is my finger getting stuck? She's got smaller, skinnier fingers, and hers was getting stuck under it. I haven't heard anybody say anything about it, but again, they know how the YouTubers are. The trollers, they're going to get mad because you said something about their precious, M&P or Shield. This is a $600 gun, I've had $250, $300 guns with better triggers, $400 guns. with better triggers. Canic would be one of them. And so they could have done better. They could have done better with the trigger. And if it were not for that, I would have left the range yesterday saying, okay, it's probably my fault, the safety, knocking the safety thing up. Okay, fine, I'll get over it, you know. I'll get over it. I'll just grip high on it. And actually, hey, it'll give me a little more control over that hot ram. But that trigger's just killing me. It's just killing me. And again, I'm not a trigger snob, but I guess my expectation was that when they changed it, and I hated the old one so much, it's like they've done something now. They really done something. They changed it up, and I'm just disappointed with the trigger. But overall, with them providing the plates, the raised sights so that you can co-witness already on the gun, the 1913 rail that'll accept most lights you got out there that you want to use, the extra grip panels, the ambi safety and slide lock, the extended, it's really not extended, I don't think, but it is very, very easy to manipulate with your thumb without changing your grip. And, you know, nice aggressive grip, easy to change the panels. 2 15-round magazines. I think maybe you can get some 17-rounders. I'm not 100% on that, but I do think I've seen that on their website. But I want to like the thing, and so I am going to take it and shoot it. I paid a lot of money for this thing by the time I put this optic on here and got a light for it. So, you know, I got about $1,250 in this thing, so I want to like it. And I'm going to shoot it some more, see if the trigger might get better, see if maybe could make adjustments to it and have a follow-up video on that. But there's nothing about its new trigger or the 10mm round that it's chambered in that would give me hesitation if I was a fan of the M&P or the Shield. I would still buy it. There's nothing about it that would give me hesitation on buying the gun. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know a lot of people give you, weights, heights, lengths, all that stuff. Again, you can find all that on Smith & Wesson's website. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what my thoughts were, how our experience was at the range. If you like the video, throw a thumbs up. It helps us out a lot. Make sure that you subscribe. Turn your alerts on so that you know when we put up new content. And please, if there's anything, if we made a mistake, we all do sometimes, said something wrong, let us know about it. We'll respond. Everybody gets a response. And we really hope you enjoyed watching the video today. Thanks, guys. Perfect.